Hi, good evening. We're going to use a couple moments to get everyone online and make sure all is working well. So as anyone pops on, welcome. And if you do pop on and you want to send a quick message, then feel free to let me know via that message. One, if the sound seems to be working well for you. And two, just that you're here. Great. Hi. Janine, does the sound seem to be working okay for you? Can you hear me okay? Give me a yes if you can, or a thumbs up. Hi, Linda. Those of you that are on, if anyone can give me a thumbs up on sound, just let me know that you can hear me and that we're here. Oh, that you can hear me. Okay. I'm actually going to give myself a thumbs up on sound because I just checked my other device. Great. Okay. So I'm going to come in close for a moment as we start to get started. So hello and welcome. Tonight's class will be in the format of a Yin Yoga practice. So I'd like to do an intro to Yin Yoga for anyone that's new to yoga or new to this type of yoga. So this practice is a practice where we hold poses for a longer period of time. We have movement, which is what we call yang, fire energy, and we have stillness, which we call yin, or water energy. So the two, movement and stillness, are kind of oppositional in a way. And a lot of our yoga is very movement-based, meaning that we flow, we move, some exercise involved. Whereas, so this practice was invented or created out of the need for us to relax and rest a little bit more. But it's also useful to get into some of the muscles in a different way. In the longer holds, you get into the tendons and the ligaments and the joints in a bit of a different way than when we're moving quickly through the poses. So this practice is designed for you. Oh yay, I've got some of my normal students that come to my Thursday night class, so it feels like we're at home. So this practice is designed for that. As we hold the postures for a longer period of time, I typically tell students that this is like the slow cooker yoga, meaning that you're going to be here a while, and so therefore the intensity does not have to be strong. The intensity can kind of be mellow because the time will be long enough to start to feel it, okay, the time. And I think we all know how it feels when the time is broad. We have a time frame, but it's longer. So tonight's practice, make yourself really comfortable when we start. And that will help, okay? So I'm excited to practice with you. And anyone that's new, welcome, and just do the best you can as you can. Tonight's practice will also be nice to have some yoga props if you have them. I have a couple blankets off to the side of my mat. If you have blankets, that would be nice. They don't have to be particular blankets. Any blankets will do if they're folded in nice piles. Yoga teachers, we love blankets folded in nice piles. And then the other thing is you might like a little lift to sit on or a yoga block. We'll probably use the yoga blocks towards the end. And if you have wall space near your practice area right now, you might set up so that you have a little bit of wall space near your mat, because we'll finish potentially with utilizing that wall space. Okay? Cool. I'll mostly demonstrate and we'll be holding poses for longer. So let's come to a tall spine. Let's take a deep and full breath in and a long and smooth breath out. Let's inhale to Om. 3 rounds. Join me if you'd like. Taking a moment to pause. And I invite us for intention for practice this evening for us to work this aspect of nervous system. Do our nervous system the favor of complete presence during your practice tonight. So let the sensations come that we feel through the practice, but ask ourselves to drop any stories or wandering thoughts off of the mat. I'm going to invite us to really keep coming back to presence tonight. My intention is that we have a nervous system invitation of calm, cool, and collected. Okay. Namaste and good evening. So this practice. Go ahead and come to your mat. And it might be useful to start by taking a blanket and unraveling it such that it ends up all the way down on the mat as a cushion. And we get rid of the sticky part of the mat. If you have carpet, you could just, instead of doing this, you could go to carpet and be on carpet for this first part, and that would be fine. And then we'll come all the way down to the back. And let's take the soles of the feet to the mat. Take the arms by the side. Press down through the elbows and just tuck your scapula under the body. So the wings tuck under. We have a long neck. And then let's inhale and take the tailbone down towards the mat and arch the belly button up towards the sky. And then as we exhale, tuck the tailbone towards the sky and draw the navel down towards the mat. And then we'll move with breath. Inhale, tailbone towards earth, navel up. Exhale, switch. Hips, pelvis stays down, tailbone up, navel down. And then we go back and forth with this at your breath cycle. warming up the spine. Feet stay fairly relaxed. Down on the mat, allowing the spine to undulate into both flexion and extension, especially the lower part of the spine. You might notice after a few moments that the head also starts to rock, chin down, and then chin up, and that's okay. Back of the head stays on the mat the whole time. And we let the spine undulate. Keep moving with your breath cycle. Three more rounds. 3 full inhales and 3 full exhales. Good. And then as you complete the cycle, go ahead and extend the legs long, and then take the arms a little wider, palms face up, out by the sides. We'll take a full breath cycle in. Exhale out through the mouth with a sigh. Full breath cycle in. Exhale out through the mouth with a sigh. One more full breath cycle in. And out. Nice. Pause, feel here. And then once again, draw the feet back into the starting position. Soles of the feet down. Feet about hip distance apart. This time, let's interlace the fingers behind the head. As we inhale, lift the belly button up towards the sky and push the elbows down towards the mat as the tailbone moves down. And then exhale, draw the head and chest up, elbows in, scooping tailbone towards the heels, navel down. Inhale, go wide with the elbows, lift the navel, tailbone towards the mat. Exhale, we come up. Go in and out with your breath, similar to the first activity there. This time, the chest is more dominant in the movement. The arms are helping us a lot. And the navel and the lumbar is also participating. This is a wonderful exercise for the neck. And while we're practicing at home, really good time to practice self-care on the neck, because sometimes we are either traveling or in a space where we can't get the help from others on neck love, such as our massage therapists, our chiropractors, osteopaths, acupuncturists. So it's really good to know how to reset your own neck if needed. So this is a good activity for that. And then let's start to go side to side. So right elbow comes towards left knee and then come back down. You're not going all the way up towards the knee, but we're just coming up and down and then go to the left. We go back and forth with this action. Exhale as we come up and inhale as we go down. Good. Go 2 more rounds each side. And then as you complete those rounds, again, extend the legs, extend the arms. Rest. Savasana. 3 deep breaths. Full inhale. Full inhale. One more full inhale. Good. And while we're on the back, we'll do one more activity, one more action. Legs come together. Just point and flex the toes, or point and flex through the feet. And then send the legs long and just take the right cheek to the right side of the mat and reach the left hand away and breathe into that left side of the neck. You'll probably feel a nice deep stretch across the front side of the neck there. Tuck your chin just ever so slightly towards your right shoulder. Come back to center. Reset the head to center. And then let the left cheek simply drop over towards the left side and reach the right fingertips away. Breathe into that right side of the neck. Probably feel a pretty decent stretch there. Drop the chin a little bit towards the shoulder. Good. And then come back to center. Reset the head to center and draw both knees into the chest. Give them a nice squeeze and a little rock side to side. We'll sweep the right arm up over the ear. Please roll to that same right side. Lay on the arm for a moment. Rest. Left hand comes down to the mat. Take 3 deep breaths here in the fetal position. And then use both hands to rise all the way up. Okay. So go ahead and remove, for now, that blanket from the mat. Just go ahead and we'll fold it up. We won't need it for a bit. But do have your props nearby, blankets, blocks, etc. Okay, let's come to a seat. Now take the legs simply cross-legged. Any cross-legged position will do. I like to call it crisscross applesauce, hands in your lap. Okay, and then let's simply take a twist. So twisting towards the right, left hand to the outside of the right knee, and turn the chest, the navel, the head all the way over that right shoulder. Full deep breath. Use the back hand as a kickstand to lift the spine tall so the navel draws forward. And then keep the twist and de-rotate your head. Look over that left shoulder. And release. Good. Second side, twisting to the left. Right hand comes across, perhaps it comes all the way across towards that left knee. And then back hand as a kickstand, draw the navel forward. And then we turn around the midline. And we breathe. Looking all the way over that left shoulder for now. And then keep everything about the twist and de-rotate the head. Look over the right shoulder. Beautiful. And then release, unwind. Let's come on to all fours, please. Tuck the back toes under. And let's stretch the hips back towards the heels, walking the arms forward. So we come into a bit of a puppy position. We're getting that nice sole of the foot stretch here. Perhaps the head comes down to rest on the mat. If that's easeful to get the head all the way down to the mat, then do that. If the mat seems far away, you might grab a block or pillow, put that under the head. Letting the soles of the feet get a nice stretch. And the low back get a nice stretch. Good. And then inhale, come up to all fours. Now this practice is a little bit more, a quiet practice. And I meant to mention to you guys, if you want to put on some background music for your practice, feel free. Then you'll have similar to what we do in class. If you have Spotify, you can go on my personal Spotify. There's a playlist called Restorative Yoga. And so you could use that on shuffle. That's what I usually use. Okay. So if you do feel like you're missing out on the music, feel free to do that. Okay, and then let's come again, hands and knees. Let's tuck the toes and lift the hips up. And go ahead and pedal the feet out a few times. Now, if you're a very new beginner, this pose, downward dog, might be a little bit much. So then you could be on all fours for a moment. Otherwise, lifting the hips high and back to downward facing dog. And let's heel press a few times, side to side. Walking it out, bending one knee, then the other. Good, and then let's simply walk the feet forward so we come to hanging forward fold with the hands down towards the mat. And you might solicit the use of your blocks here for under the palms. Or use your hands on the shins or the thighs. Let's see about letting the head hang. Take a full deep inhale. And an exhale, nice sighing breath out through the mouth. Deep inhale. One more deep inhale. Good. And then we'll walk the hands right under the shoulders. We'll step the left foot back to a lunge. Now they call this dragon's lunge in Yin, also called low lunge in our other practices. And let's drop the back knee down today. Release the back toes. We'll walk both blocks to the inside of that front foot. Okay, I'm going to pivot around so everyone can see from the other side. You guys stay on that right foot forward. So the knees down, the toes release, and both blocks come to the inside. Okay, so if my knee was tender on this floor, I might put the blanket there. Okay, and then from here, we can stay upright, or we can start to relax down to the elbows. Now, remember that conversation at the beginning that we want it to be very comfortable. So if already I'm feeling a very big stretch as dropping down onto the elbows, then maybe I'll come up and use the hands. We'll be here for several minutes, so be comfortable. It's a slow cooker. See if we can invite the physical form to feel relaxed, even in the challenge of both the hold and the pose itself. And when the body gives you sensation, know that that's its language, and then just ask, is that the language that I need to back off? Is it the language that's telling me this is okay, but it's a feeling? Or is it an alarm? My assistant has joined us. Maybe you have your own assistants at home. Inviting them to chill with us is great. They can teach us so much, our animals. See if we want to, notice if you would like to let the head relax. Good, and then let's deepen the breath. Walk the hands to the blocks. Start to lift the chest. Let's take a moment with each hand to each side of that front leg. And come up higher on the blocks if you've got them, or you can take the hands to the thigh if you don't have blocks right now. Just lift the chest. Look up, gaze goes up. Let's take a lion's roar breath here. So a big inhale, you'll exhale out through the mouth, stick out the tongue in a nice loud roar. Big inhale. Big inhale. Good. And then hands come to the block. Let's tuck the back toe and lift the back knee up. And then go ahead and simply walk both blocks to the inside of that right foot again. And we'll walk it all the way around to the other side. Bring your blocks with you like stilts. We'll come all the way to left foot forward. Lower the back knee down again. Release the toes. We'll come to the inside of the foot. And then perhaps lower down to the blocks. Perhaps come to the forearms. Remember, we'll be here for about 3 minutes. Allow ourselves to settle in. Perhaps invite the head to hang. In a lot of yoga practices, we ask the head to be in a certain position. In this practice, letting the head hang is often suggested. Keep the mind tethered to the breath, and just so gently tethered to the pose. So it's like a meditation and a passive stretch all at the same time. And while this practice can be suitable for beginners, the mental aspect of it is quite challenging, actually. A lot of very seasoned yoga practitioners will say that yin can be a challenge for them to stay in the postures and to quiet the mind. Good. If you find you need to change position at all, please feel free to do that. But when the mind asks for the change, I recommend taking 3 breaths right after the mind asks for the change. Give it 3 breaths to just pause and then move. It's like asking the body to respond rather than to react. Deepen the breath. We'll come up a little higher. We'll walk each hand to the outside of that front foot. Blocks maybe on the highest level, or use your thigh as a block to lift the chest. We'll go a little bit of a back bend here. Gaze goes up. We'll get our lion's breath on. So where I live in Santa Cruz, there have been sightings of these big mountain lions. They're just slowly trotting along. I've never seen, don't know if those mountain lions do lion's breath, but we will, like a big lion in Africa. Big inhale and give it a roar. 2 more. Anything stuck in your throat, get it out. What I mean by that is psycho-spiritually, emotionally stuck in the throat. Inhale. Good. Release. Walk both hands to the inside of that front foot again. And let's lift the back knee up and walk around to wide-legged fold. So we'll do this one standing pose, wide fold. Most of our poses are going to not be standing tonight, but we'll do wide fold. Now I'm going to show the first variation. Variation A with the blocks, or B with the hands down. Now that's for someone that's more flexible. If you're new, you might instead come up to standing, turn towards a wall perhaps. Pardon me here, we're going to turn towards the wall. You might come into the fold this way, head to the wall. Or if you've got some furniture nearby, instead of doing this standing, you might come down to a seat facing towards your furniture, like a chair or a couch, and just fold the chest forward towards that furniture, letting the body rest. Okay, so some options here. I'm going to stay down and use the blocks. Some of us are still standing, and that's great. Wherever you are, see about letting the head be relaxed, especially the frontal lobe, letting that frontal cortex kind of feel supported, but also getting that tactile sense into the front of our brain can be kind of a good idea at this point. It can be quite calming. Good. Inhale, rise up, release. If you're standing, come up, hands to the hips, elbows back. If you're down on the ground, just go ahead and start to bring the legs together. If you're standing, go ahead and bring the legs together. Nicely done. Okay, beautiful. So for the standing folks, actually, let's all come up. We're going to do one more thing here. So this is sort of a nice pose to do with a wall. So I mentioned if you have a wall to use it tonight, you might just stick the glutes back to a wall. We're going to come down to a little squat. Now for the beginners, this is going to be good, staying up a bit and coming down to a bit of a squat here, okay? The pelvis, glutes are on the wall. So it's a wall sit, but it should be comfortable, okay? Now for those of you that practice a lot, you might allow the body to go further down and come into a squat. Let's still use the wall. If you don't have a wall, you can do this at the middle of the room as well. And I'm coming so far down that I'm pretty much sitting all the way down to the ground. But I've still got my heels pretty firmly rooted, so we've got a lot of compression in the hips. Okay, wherever you are, wherever you go, there you are, as Dr. Seuss might say. Just gently breathe in this Malasana squat. Getting very in touch with our root, our lower chakras, soles of our feet firmly planted on the earth. And then release. We'll rise up. Now you might come up using the hands, coming all the way up, squeezing your thighs, or you might come down to a seat, but actually I'd prefer it if we all come all the way up to standing. Just find Tadasana. If you're like, no, I want to lay down, go into Tadasana on your back. So just lay down on your mat, legs extended, arms extended, and breathe here like we're in standing pose. Good, and then release. Now we'll just come into squat and come all the way down to our mats. Okay, good, good, good. So we'll do a little bit more of some yin practice. Let's take and extend both legs forward to start here. And then I prefer to be lifted on a little bit of a lift. So if you've got a little blanket or cushion, you might grab that cushion or blanket here. Okay, we'll extend the right leg out in front. And we'll draw the sole of the left foot in towards the inner right thigh. Your blocks might be useful nearby. And we'll inhale, lengthen, lift chest. And exhale, fold forward over the extended leg. So again, blocks might be useful for the hands. And then you could make a little pillow for the head. Or level 2, 3, you could fold forward, no blocks. But still nice idea to have something where the head can rest. Good, deepen the breath. Let's inhale, come up. Now let's take that same left leg. What we'll do is we'll draw it across the right thigh and turn that right thigh, externally rotate that right thigh so the left foot comes across. I'm going to turn so you guys can see what this looks like. So left leg's up and over, all the way over, and we take the sole of that foot across, if that's comfortable. This one is going to start to get into that sciatic region and the piriformis. So take an inhale here, and then same idea, we'll exhale, fold forward. This time you might be able to rest the head on the forehead, or again, solicit the use of those blocks. See if we can relax the toes. So these times, sometimes it's tempting to hold on tight to whatever we can hold on to when there's a lot of unknowns. But in truth, the holding on often creates more struggle. And the practice can be us to learn to let go, to what we think we know. We're still folded forward here for a few more breaths. Especially see if we can let go of the toes, any tension in the hands, any tension in the shoulders. And then we'll inhale, rise up, and we'll switch sides. So I'm just going to turn it around here, but same idea. This time left leg comes out, sole of the right foot goes into the left inner thigh. We'll do the first position, which was the Janu Shirshasana. One leg out, forward fold. Inhale, we lengthen. You might have those blocks nearby. And then exhale, we fold forward, coming down. See if we can create a pillow for the forehead. See if we can relax the ankle. And then see if we can relax the jaw. And that's easier said than done. Put your awareness there. to relaxing the jaw. Good. Deepen the breath. Let's inhale, rise up. And then we'll take that same right leg, cross it across that left leg, and the sole of the foot goes towards the back wall. We'll sit up nice and tall. Nice external rotation of that thigh. And then inhale and exhale, we come forward. Again, maybe utilize the props. Or take the forehead towards the knee. For those of you guys that are a little more flexible, that forehead to the knee in this one will be possible. And perhaps, depending on the length of your thigh bone, it'll be possible. Good, and we'll deepen the breath and inhale, rise up. Release both legs out in front. Let's take the soles of the feet down to the mat. Walk the hands back. Do a little bit of puffing of the chest, like you're proud of the collarbones, just spreading them wide, and then shimmy the shins side to side, allowing the feet to pivot with the thighs. Good. Okay, so we've done some good forward folding so far. The next thing to do is to open up our chest. So we'll do a little bit of back bending. Now, if you have props like pillows, you might grab them here. Didn't mention those at the beginning of class, but a pillow or a bolster might be useful. I would say that a blanket towards the side of your mat for your elbows would be useful. And I'm going to show you those variations where you have the props as well. So if you have, okay, first variation will be without the prop because I'm going to assume that most of us don't have a lot of bolsters at home. One time, a long time ago, someone gifted me a ton of bolsters, so I've always had a lot of bolsters around my life. But you know, come here forward and come into Sphinx. Okay? Extend the legs. So forearms down, chest lifted. I usually recommend elbows either forward a little bit more than the shoulder heads or perpendicular shoulder heads right over the elbows. Okay? This is option A. For many of you, this will be a good option. If you have the prop or a really firm pillow, you could use a firm pillow there right underneath the front ribs. The lower front ribs come into a back bend. This one's more intense typically, but not always. Those two options for now. Allow the chest to open. There's a little nice squeeze that goes on in the kidney region, the mid-low back here. And I find that useful to do a little physical compression there on that mid-low back. This also stretches out the front of the hip flexors if we sit a lot during the day. Notice where the sensation is for your body. So often I'll get the questions about where should I feel a pose, or am I doing this right? I feel it here. And the answer is that wherever you feel the pose is where it's working for you, or it's being for you. The question is it feel comfortable and useful? Or does it feel pain and unuseful. And then the question also kind of comes that why is that the limiting factor? Is that the limiting factor because that's where I'm the most physically limited? Or is it because I'm pushing too hard into that region? Or is it because of modification? Like if I scooch back a little bit, I'd feel a little less in the low back. Or is it because a modification might make this more accessible for my body form this year? You know, and you can always make modifications. Make it really work for you. Continue to breathe. Good. And then deepen the breath. Lift up onto the hands, elbows and knees. Walk the knees in a bit. And let's simply tuck the toes and sit back on the heels. Come into a little bit of a seated Vajrasana pose. Stretching those feet again. Good. And then we'll see about Virasana pose. So this is going to be a pose where most folks will do pretty well with a block between the heels. I'll demo from the back. So knees go fairly together and then we sit back on a block. A pillow will work in lieu of a block, or a blanket will work folded on quarters. But see if this will work for you to sit in Vajrasana between the heels. Let's take the arms out to the side. Reach out firmly through your fingertips. Take the right hand down, take the left arm up and over. Inhale, come back up to center. And exhale, switching sides. Top arm comes up and over. Both sits bones stay down on your block. Good. We inhale, come up, release. Nicely done. So after that pose, it's always good to straighten the legs out all the way. So let's go ahead and swing the feet all the way out in front of us. Now you might come on a little seat again here onto your blanket. Send the legs forward. Let's take the fingertips back, lift the heart. Straighten the knees all the way and spread your 10 toes or 9 toes. Breathe into that top chest. Take both arms up overhead. Good. Exhale, release the arms. Let's actually cross the right ankle on top of the left. See if this works for your body. You can take the fingertips behind and we'll just tilt forward a little bit. You might stay here with the fingertips behind, just tilting forward a bit, or let the upper body hang. We'll hang here simply for 5 breaths. See about relaxing the toes. And then inhale, we come up. Hands behind, switchwood ankles on top. Inhale, lift the chest. And then exhale and fold forward. Don't worry about how far we go forward. Doesn't particularly matter at all. What's important is that you find a range of motion that works for you. Get a little bit of sensation, not too much, not too little. And then we invite the body to pause, feel. And we inhale, come up, and release, unwind. Okay, so our next pose will be an inversion. It will require the blocks or something underneath the pelvis. So what I'd suggest is 1 block or 2 blocks. This time the block goes widthwise, like so, but underneath the pelvis. So I'm going to just show you how the blocks are lined up. You might not be able to see once I go down on them, okay? So then I'm going to take them away. I'm going to come all the way down to the back. Soles of the feet on the mat like we started class. And I'm going to lift the hips up and put the block underneath my sacrum. Now the sacrum is the boniest part of the low spine. It's right underneath the back side of the pubic bone there. So make sure the blocks are pretty low. You might even check, go lower, not quite off the buttocks, that's too far, but right up under the sacrum. It should feel really nice and sturdy. And then you could either stay there with 1 block or second block under the pelvis. Make sure the blocks are stacked nice and neat on each other. And then we're up and push into the elbows. Tuck your shoulder blades down like wings that you're tucking away for the evening. And then let the arms be by the sides. We hold here in bridge pose. Check in with the neck. Just make sure the head is neutral. The neck's not doing too much or too little. It's just kind of a neutral position. A little bit of pressure can come there. Hopefully not too much. If it starts to feel like too much, go back down to a lower setting on the block. For those of you who have been practicing a while and want a little more in the front thigh, you might extend the legs. This is one of the only times in my yin practice that I keep the feet more active. If I'm extending the legs here, I'll keep the feet kind of active feet because that will tend to make more space in my sacral iliac joint. It'll tend to be a little more comfortable for most bodies. Good, and then from wherever you are, walk the feet in, lift the heels, lift the hips, move the blocks out of the way. I like to take the arms up overhead and then slowly roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. Coming all the way down where the feet are down, the pelvis is down. Now let's counter pose, draw the knees slowly into the chest. That can be a lot. Do it nice and slowly. Little rock side to side. Okay, and then we'll set up from here for legs up the wall. Now, if you're new to this, I'll walk us through. If you've done it a few times, you can go ahead and go on up. It might be a good time to put a little bit more warm clothes on. If you have hypertension that's unresolved or just not so sure about going upside down, you might skip this one and go ahead and go all the way to the back in that position we started in, just resting, legs wide, arms wide. Otherwise, we're going to scooch all the way into the wall. You take your glutes all the way to the wall and lay down in a fetal position, and then really scooch into that wall. And then from there, we swing the legs around and up to the sky. Okay, and we stay kind of scooched into the wall as long as that's comfortable. And we take the arms. Let's take the arms today into goal post, which is bent elbows, legs up. And then as you come to legs up the wall, take a full deep inhale and a long, smooth exhale. Push up through your heels for a moment and then let the legs go. Imagine both of the legs just got 2 pounds heavier. So your femur bone just drops right into your hip in the good way. And in doing so, the groin muscles relax, thighs relax. Invite the hands and the feet to relax. We choose these positions of the body to invite a response of the mind. We literally put ourselves in a position of ease such that our minds will also feel that impact. We literally train the nervous system moment by moment. We choose our thoughts. But if we set it up by giving ourselves these conditions, then perhaps we have an easier time at choosing the useful thoughts. Let's all deepen the breath. And gradually bend the knees. Rest your feet on the wall for a moment and pause. And then let's roll to our side and come around and up to a comfortable seat. And come all the way up and support your hips. Let's sit for a moment together. Take a moment with your hands together at the heart in prayer position. And see if we can find one joyful thing from your day. It can be big or small. Just one thing, one moment, one thing we are grateful for. Hold that in your heart space. It could be something you witnessed. For example, I'll share with you guys, I'm witnessing right now my neighbors and their children, and they're playing. And it sounds like they're playing with their dad. And I've lived in my house for 7 or 8 years. I think the neighbors over the fence have lived there for quite some time. They're in an apartment. I've never ever heard them playing with their dad before. Maybe I'm not home enough, or maybe he's at work a lot. But right now he's there, and they're playing, and they're having so much fun. And so it's so joyful to hear. Feel free, if you guys want, as we end, to share anything in the feed that is your joy today. And let's close practice with one round of Om to seal our practice. Take a deep inhale. Join me if you'd like. Exhale completely. Inhale to Om. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me today. So thank you so much for being here. I'll leave this class up. It'll be on my YouTube and hopefully on my Facebook, so you can watch it, you can share it. If anyone wants to donate to the cause of yoga classes, you're always welcome to donate. Venmo or PayPal, all are fine. And also you can share far and wide. I especially love it when I see that people that are in need right now are getting to watch yoga from anywhere, and that's great. So share far and wide, and they can find it on Facebook or find it on YouTube. I will be back on Saturday morning, 7:30, doing a slow flow. So I hope to see you guys there. And in between then and now, blessings. Om. Have a great night.